I just called to order today, the Leominster Planning Board for December 3rd, 2018.
Patrick Perla.
Yep.
Fred Fredericks.
Yep.
Paul Weiser.
Yep.
Salvatore Ciccone.
Close. Good. Yeah.
John Souza.
Yeah.
Cara Vittoria Oso.
Here.
Thomas Kerrigan. Excused.
Not here, I'm gonna take this check.
Okay, go.
Okay. Minutes of previous meetings. We have minutes from November 5th.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
I have a motion made
Second.
and second to accept the minutes. Do I have any addition, deletion, or corrections? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. Plans submitted. We don't have any. Old business, we don't have any. New business, we don't have any. It's gonna be the shortest meeting in the history, I think. Modification of site plan approval for 45 Sac Boulevard, Popeye, Louisiana Kitchen.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Lewis. I work for Center Mountain Lane Development. I'm here representing Leominster Chicken. With me tonight is Dave Gagne from Gagne Realty Corp. I have some revised plans. Take a look at. You're welcome.
You got one here.
No, that's been superseded by this plan, I
Oh,
believe.
you got a new one? Okay, then I'll, all right.
That would have been bad.
That's two and three.
Is that enough?
Yeah, I think so.
Put one up on the board just for fun. Kick my favorite heater. I think last time I was here, I kicked it 5 or 6 times.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, thanks for seeing us tonight. We are seeking a minor modification to our original site plan approval from June 6, 2018. The modification is for temporary propane service to the Popeye's restaurant. This is due to the ongoing labor dispute with National Grid. We won't have natural gas till sometime next year. So this is to get us from opening, which is scheduled for late February, early March, until we get the gas service. The temporary service, what we're proposing is our twin 1,000-gallon tanks, which sit on top of a 20 by 17 concrete pad. That pad is protected by a perimeter security fence with a locked gate, and then the fence is protected by Jersey barrier crash protection, and the Jersey barriers are pinned into the bituminous concrete.
Okay.
We revised the plan that you have, the previous
Okay.
one, based on comments received by the department heads. There was a comment from the fire department about an FPA 58, and we didn't have we were meeting the minimum setback to an ignition source. So if a vehicle is parked next to the pen and there was a gas leak, a vehicle could ignite it when the vehicle started. So we revised our layout, pushed the Jersey barriers back, and now we meet all the minimum requirements for an FP 58. and
58, right.
The fire department subsequently reviewed our revised plan and approved it.
Okay.
Do we have a note?
Yes.
Yeah.
The proposal does not affect our landscaping plan. It doesn't affect snow removal. It does not affect snow storage. It does displace 8 parking spaces temporarily, but the overall mixed-use development of the site requires 329 spaces. We have 345, so we'll be down 8, which is 338, which still puts us 9 above the minimum required. It's a pretty straightforward, temporary, hopefully, within just a few months.
What do you, so when you have regular,
Yes.
gas from National Grid, what do you do? Will you remove the tanks then?
Yes, the entire pen, as well as the slab, everything will be replaced. The parking lot will be restored to the existing condition, restriped, whole 9 yards. Any pavement that's disturbed will be removed and replaced.
So you'll have 8 more spaces back, right?
Right, yes, and then we'll be back to the 345.
It's a lot of money for a temporary solution, that's a shame.
It's awful, and they have to change out all their equipment,
Yeah, it's
all the equipment in their kitchen.
different.
Yep, and all their heating, and then change it back. Yeah, it's nuts. Unfortunately, it's the climate, it's the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
Still a shame, but good job. Yeah, right.
Still pushing all the jobs away.
Yeah,
Well, I consider this a minor modification. It's under, we don't have to, I mean, it's not under a public hearing, so we don't have to close it because it's
No.
a minor modification. And I make a motion to approve with all department head comments.
And I'll second it.
Should we
Do
approve
we
it
need a
first
motion to
as a
say it's a
minor?
minor?
Yeah.
we have to approve
So,
the
okay, that's
minor
true.
first.
I make a motion that it's a minor modification.
I have a motion made and seconded, it's a minor modification.
Yep.
Do I have any discussion on that? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All say no, motion carried.
I move to approve the modification of the site plan with all, taking into consideration all comments from department heads.
Motion made and seconded to accept the modification, changes, and with comment from the department heads. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Good luck.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Okay.
Hopefully nobody else gets on strike between now and then.
Thanks, happy holidays, everyone.
You too.
Thank you.
No.
Over here.
Well, you did something with them. On the end of this, you can use mine if you like.
What do you need?
This is giving Elizabeth authority to sign an A&R plans.
Yeah, I get nothing left.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Everyone sign it?
okay, great, okay.
6.2.
Signature authority completion update form signed A&Rs and
We
subdivision.
just did that?
We just did that.
Did we get that form?
Yep.
Has everybody signed it?
Yep.
It was just here, okay, beautiful.
Did you pass it out?
That's done.
Tom, you got it, right? You got it.
just signed it.
Yeah, Tom signed it.
Okay, then we're all done.
Next meeting, December 17th.
Are those tornado warnings coming through over
I
there?
vote no.
Illinois and all those states. Sounds good.
Scheduled.
Better get the basement.
So we have
What's that? You got nothing? Wait a minute,
Get
Sal,
a tornado
My
warning?
nephew's all
Sal,
Serious?
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Sal, it's downstairs.
Oh,
Some musical instrument. It's a technical.
Okay, I like, we have discussion for the next meeting, not what's downstairs.
We have nothing scheduled.
Do we have anything scheduled? Nothing has come in?
nothing's coming.
Okay,
Then we should cancel.
Nothing we can't discuss during communication.
okay. So in that case, I would move that the planning board meeting for December 17th be canceled unless important action is required.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Okay? Any further discussion on that? I entertain. Fred?
Yeah.
Pat?
That
Okay.
works.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion
works.
carries. Okay. Elizabeth Wood.
Not yet.
Not yet, 6.4.
You know,
What did I miss? Oh,
you missed it all. You missed out only
I got 6.3, I don't have a 6.4.
Did you get the amended agenda? There's an amended agenda.
Yeah, you want my agenda?
Tom's sitting over there.
Yeah.
I think he just came to look at you.
I don't know, that's what I had. Okay,
He lost his.
somebody stole
Is there nothing on December 17th?
Right.
Southgate Business Park research. Yes, sir.
So this is,
Give us your words of wisdom.
okay, so this is the bond approval for the last 180 feet of my client's work on a Research Drive. So Research Drive is accepted as a public way, public easement, up through and including, I think we may have put a plan in, that's recorded at the Registry of Deeds that shows that with the package. And so the Department of Public, DPW has been out to the site on occasion and has given an estimate. Mr. Roseberry from the department initially estimated at the beginning of this year that the cost of completion at that time was about $152,000. And I think there's a correspondence from him recently. There's been a lot of work done through the spring and summer, and so he now recommends that the bond amount, which is my client proposed being a cash deposit with the city, be in the amount of $66,559. And again, that's to finish the last 180 feet of research project, substantially done. There's some final items that need to be finished out there in accordance with Mr. Roseberry's recommendation. There was a bid for this. I think at the time, the original contingency was set at 20%, which was acceptable to my clients. So we're asking that the city accept the cash deposit in the amount of that $66,000, and then we expect it to be done shortly. It would have been done sooner, but I think my clients are coordinating with one of the end users on site. The last building on the property there is being built, so they're working, putting the utilities in at their convenience.
Now, will that bring that on the drawing here, you show the second cul-de-sac, or to where it is now?
The cul-de-sac has been shortened in length, so the final length of the cul-de-sac will be shorter.
Where it is now, where the darker one
It's
is?
shown on the plan, right, but it's shorter than what it was originally approved, right?
Oh, okay. Because you showed the road going all the way up.
It was gonna go all the way down into lot 8A, but now it'll end on lot 7A.
Okay. Okay, fine.
And they agreed that 66 was the appropriate amount.
I just do want to say that that didn't come across my desk yet. It came from the applicant. So I just would ask that I verify that John did send this email.
Right.
No offense.
No, that's fine.
He's not lying.
I think John sent it in, beginning of
There
October.
was an absence of a director, so I think there was nowhere to send it for a period of time, and so.
So, just so that I understand, Tom, the original amount was 153?
Correct, and that had a built-in 20% contingency. So the cost of completion of the entire thing originally was 127. And I
Plus
think
the 20, right?
then, I think they recommended 20%.
So
Yeah,
then,
that-
Registry stops there.
Yeah, this will go a little bit beyond the registry.
Right.
so, all right, but then time went on and they did more of the work, so that's why it's reduced now? I'm just
Right,
trying
that's
to-
correct. So
Okay.
it was, I think John had reviewed it like in the winter time, and that's what he recommended, and they did work between then and now.
Okay.
And John went out in October, Roseberry, and he now is of the opinion that 66 is sufficient to complete.
Okay.
I think Ms. Woods will confirm that and make sure that that was his estimate.
Okay. So, I make a motion to,
Well, do I have the act?
Well, there's an email at the.
well, I'm going to do that. I was about to.
Go ahead.
So I was going to make a motion to approve the performance bond for the amount of $66,559 upon confirmation from the planning director.
No,
From the DPW.
DPW
From the
through the
confirmation from the planning director
has the
that that when she speaks to the DPW.
Right.
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded to accept the $66,559 after we've received documentation to the planning director and confirmation from the DPW of the figures submitted. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Take it.
Thank you.
Right, Tom?
Okay. Now we get into Mr. Wood's report.
Of course, this machine,
Yeah, but the acoustics in here, it's hard to hear.
it is. When you get older.
I'm getting there.
It'll come in handy at later meetings.
So, if you know how to use the postage machine, I'm good.
I am too.
Yeah,
And then Nespresso, I'm all psyched about that. So first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning is my Nespresso coffee maker.
so I didn't know how specific you wanted this report.
This is pretty specific.
Where in the world I came from before I came here, the public place where I worked in Wyndham, they wanted to know every single detail about everything. If you don't care to know that, I don't need to give it to you. I talked to John about this, and he said he'd like to just hear about what's going on for the planning board, and the rest of it is just noise. So that is fine with me. I can give you that. The mayor likes to hear everything, so I can make the mayor one with a long list of everything he likes to hear, and I can make a different one for the planning board with only planning board items. That's fine with me.
That works.
You've been busy.
That works.
No, this is good, and this is a good way to start. I'm only teasing you, and I think that's.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you might want to know I have coffee if anybody wants
Yeah, I
to
know.
come down and get some.
For a
That is
fraction,
good to know.
for a fraction of the price.
Yes.
Well, no,
Well,
great.
your first one, I'll give it to you.
There you go.
Do we get one of those
Yes.
cards, and a punch card, we get
Punch
like the
card.
7th one for free?
Yeah. We're gonna have a in-house coffee.
No, this is great.
Is it busy?
Oh, it's tough.
Yeah, you did a lot in a month.
Yep.
How you doing, all right?
I'm loving it.
How you?
It's great. It's a good place.
You're not
No,
just
I
saying
think
that
this
because
is
the
good. This
camera's
is
on.
good.
You don't know me well enough to know. But I do
What I wanted was
have
bullets.
6 quick things.
Go ahead.
That I talked to some of these with John, and I talked to the mayor about them previously, because I'm told that I have to go to the mayor first, and then I come to the board second. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Did he tell you that?
We're on camera.
That's funny.
So I noticed, I have experience in other places, and what I did everywhere else doesn't necessarily work here, but some of the things that I learned might address problems that we have here. So I ran one idea by John already, and he liked it, but I want to hear what the board thinks. I also ran this idea I met with the registrar, Kathleen.
There you go.
Thank you. I met with her, and she liked my idea. So far, everyone likes it. But what I've noticed is that historically, when a Mylar has been signed by the planning board chair, an approved Mylar, we've been counting on the applicant to take the Mylar and deliver it to the registrar of deeds. And I see a lot of problems with that. I see that the Mylar might disappear. The person might get hit by a bus on the way over. They might get sick. They might decide they want to alter the Mylar and run it through their printer again, and what you signed might not be what gets filed. I don't like to accuse people of things, but the only way to verify that what the board approved is what's getting filed is for our office, our department, to ensure that it gets filed, not the applicant. And it's really easy to do that. We get little tubes for mailing, and we put postage on it, and we send it off to the registrar. And what we do collect, there's no new fees are going to be collected for this, but we do need to collect are the checks that go to the registrar. And so instead of giving the checks to the registrar, they just give them to us, made out to the registrar for whatever the fee amount is. And so we'd be transporting the Mylar, the check, and then one other thing we would transport. Another problem we had is once the plans have been getting filed at the registrar, we're depending on a third party, well, it's within the city, but we're counting on a diluted process of getting word back that the plan's actually been filed. So I want to eliminate that. I want to give a postcard, a self-addressed postcard to the registry when I mail in the tube that says plans, Nass Road subdivision, filed, and the registrar can fill in the date and the book and the page, and they'll mail it right back to us. There's a delay of a day or two for mail, but other than that, the registrar, they're on board with doing this for us. We did it in New Hampshire, it worked great, and we did it in Wyoming, it worked great.
Can they do it online?
Not yet.
Or the receipt, you know, with the page number?
No, you run it the same legal code. That's why they could use a fax. A facsimile is legal, but you can't use it
Sounds good
online.
that way.
Are you sure?
But we're gonna pay the postage.
That's what I've run into that. Legal, just like a prescription, you go from a doctor, you can't get
I mean,
that
that's
online.
another question for
Yeah.
another day.
But that
If
can
they
be
could,
worked out.
if they could, you know, give receipt and the book and page number based on it, on information back to you on an email, then you have it instantly, you file the email.
But you can't do it.
It's just an easy, you know, another easy step in the process, right? I don't see why they wouldn't do it. This is the 21st century.
You're saying why the registry wouldn't send us an
Right.
email?
City government in the 21st century.
I know, and it's.
Yeah. So, well, check on that, but I think legal, we need a hard copy.
And that's
And-
Well, they'd just be
like
mailing a
fax.
card back to us.
Right, no, I
And
understand, I understand.
it's a postcard stamp, not a full.
Well, I don't even care about the cost of a stamp. I'm just saying an easier process, just send it back electronically.
But then what if I'm not in that day, and or I'm out, I'm at meetings, the mail comes in, Stephanie will get it, or Ellen, or whoever's in the office will get it, whoever's working, because I'm keeping coverage in the office
No,
now.
understood.
So if the
I
card
just
comes
maybe,
back, it won't be stuck in my email. We've had email problems before. Before I started, there were issues. This keeps it old fashioned and it works.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it doesn't. I was just trying to help. Yeah, because IT can set up a different email address where
That's-
everybody would have access to
That's
it.
a new complication though.
That is IT. I'm just, you know, work in business.
We don't have that,
That's actually a
so.
good idea.
You set up a
It's group box,
third-party
so you can actually-
mailing address for you guys, so it doesn't specifically go to one person. It goes just to a general box,
Yeah.
and certain people have the privileged rights to go into
We already
that
have-
box.
We already have that set up, so we could
So
just.
that could be an easy way to do it. I'm just saying,
Then
another
you
easier way to do it.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to do.
That's right. I like the process. We'll work out the
It's
details.
fun.
Lots of backup, they could always serve.
Yeah.
Well, can we try it the way I suggested, and then if
Absolutely.
it doesn't work, then we
Absolutely.
can revisit it?
Yep.
Because the registrar already said that works for them.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna move through these, I've got 5 more things, so I wanna try to move through them as quick as possible.
That's
I don't
fine.
wanna keep you here.
We got plenty of time
You gotta decorate
tonight.
your trees and everything. So,
Well, we don't really have plenty of time tonight.
Oh, we got
Nothing
some
else to do. Go ahead, Elizabeth, I'm just teasing.
I'm not long-winded. Okay, so in 1910, you're probably all aware there was a fire and a lot of documents burned. Well, a lot of those documents have gone missing and we'll never get back, but what we can get back are all the plans that were recorded at the registry prior to 1910. So when someone comes in, and I've had people come in for historic buildings wanting information, we'd have it right there. We could access it digitally. We can have the document and we could email it to people. Like you said, we could do that, email. So I think there's in addition to that, while they're at it, they took it another step further. They have great customer service at the Registrar of Deeds. They really do. They were very helpful. And they said that in addition to that, they can get us digitized Mylars of all the Mylars that have been filed to date. Now, I see that as an asset because where I'm used to having hard copies of the Mylars in the planning office. We don't have that, but we should at least have digital copies, and we can email those too. People don't even have to come in; they can go on the website and make a request, and we can get it to them.
So is there a
So,
cost involved with
There's
that?
going to be a small cost involved with that. I'm getting the quote on that, but
Okay.
the cost of having an intern, we're a public facility. We need to have people need to have access to their records. I think I will find out the cost and give it to you at the next meeting.
Okay,
They're working on an estimate. But to pay somebody to come in here and to digitize all of our paper copies, and those are all wrinkled, they've got smears on them, they're all stapled together. The quality of the document, if I did it in-house and had someone digitize it, is not going to be what the registry can provide. So they can provide a service that I can't duplicate, and they can do it cheaper, I'm assuming.
okay.
I don't think it's gonna be astronomical, I don't sense that. But I can come back with you in January with the cost. Okay, that was my first three, I've got three more. No, I already went through one of them, the director's report, you said you want just planning things, right?
Yeah, and this was good. Bullets of things were going on. That's, gives
Okay.
everybody an insight in the operation, what's going on. That's good.
And what I typically do is when we have an application or any proposal that comes in front of the board is I would do a review of, like, for example, we had Southgate Business Park today. Even though it's just under communications, I would typically write a review of that with any outstanding comments or concerns. Instead of verbally telling you at the meeting, you'd have it in your packet ahead of time. Bigger projects, that gets to be a lot more important. Some of my memos get to be 5, 7. If you have a subdivision that's 36 houses, you might get a memo that's 7 pages long. Because I have to review the entire subdivision. I don't know if that was done before I got here or wasn't, but that's what I do, and I hope that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Jim?
Okay, if you start to hate my memos, then you can tell me, and we'll revisit the idea, but common planning practice is to do that.
That's good.
Okay, good. The other thing we noticed in the department, we were kind of making a list, Stephanie's helping me, and my other staff are helping me come up with a list of things that I know prior to me coming, Leominster went through a lot of growth, and a lot of things happened very, very, very quickly. And with that comes growing pains, and there's a lot of things you'd like to do long-term that you just never get around to. And so I think there's a lot of things that could happen that could make the department run better moving forward. And we're making a list of that, and one of those things is we don't have a form for an applicant to fill out when they want to do a minor site plan. They don't have any paperwork to turn in. They only have the regular site plan, which isn't, we've been using it, and it works in a backwards way, but I'd really like to have a form where they fill it out for minor site plan.
Yeah. It's not a problem.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking you should
What you would have to do
It
with
might
that,
have to amend something in the.
what you'll have to do is you come up with the form, what you think it'll work, and once that's done, then that'll come in, that'll be an amendment to the site plan, to the subdivision regulations. And we'll add that to the forms in the back of the book.
And I think what it should be called is an application for, we're the ones who determine if it's a minor modification, so
But
it should be.
you will determine that ultimately, but they're applying to be, for you to see them that way.
Yeah, so it should be called like an application for a determination
Of a minor.
of a minor
modification.
of a minor modification, something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they shouldn't presume, because they fill out that form, that it's
Well, the form
automatically a
will say,
minor.
disclaimer, the planning board has the authority to accept as a minor. If it's not determined as minor, it will default to major. It'll have that on there.
Okay.
You can look at the form before we issue it, you can tweak it, you can tell me you hate it, you can tell me.
Well, that's what I said, it'll have to come back to the board. The board can accept it as a modification to the subdivision regulations, and then be put in the back of the book.
Good idea.
Okay. The Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission rep was Michael, who is no longer on the board.
Long time gone, yeah.
So someone
Mike
else
Meehan,
is,
yeah.
so what I'm hearing is that someone else needs to take on that
Yes.
He's
duty.
the junior member.
Well, me or Fred.
Your turn.
Oh, it is
What is
Paul,
it?
let's think.
I don't think we need to do
Just
that
go to a
tonight. I don't know if we
meeting,
need to do that tonight or if we need to put it on the January agenda.
Yeah.
We've all been through it.
Okay.
I think we have to put it on the agenda.
I'm
Yeah,
tired.
that's-
I've been through it twice. I've done it twice.
Yeah,
You don't want me to
Chad,
do it.
Paul,
Send me information.
find out when the meeting
Find out when the
schedule
meeting
is,
starts.
and see if it
Seniority
meets his
has its,
schedule.
Okay.
If I can
Okay.
its benefits.
And if it meets your schedule, then
Yep, I'll do
he'll do it. Okay, so check, I can't remember when they meet.
I don't think Tom's ever done it either.
So is this something that the mayor appoints, or is this something that the board
I
nominates?
don't know, John?
Oh,
What's that?
Someone volunteers.
someone volunteers.
It's not that complicated, someone
No.
just
No,
says,
it's
I'll
not.
do it?
No, we just assign someone to.
We assigned,
Where I-
Draw lots
Where
and
it was
then
before, we
we'll-
had to do interviews and we had to do,
It's like
No.
Russian roulette.
you don't do that.
We usually take the junior person and we make
And
them
stick
go
it
through
with
it because we've all been through it.
Okay, so Paul, you're willing to do this?
As long as the schedule
The
works.
schedule works with your
Yeah.
schedule.
And if it doesn't, Tom said he'll do it.
Again.
If not, Tom.
He never did it. He never
He's
did
Is that a
it.
joke or is
You never
that
did
a-
it either,
That's
did
true.
you?
Pat, I haven't
No.
done it, but may I just say, I have a 7-year-old,
Yeah,
a 5-year-old, and a
5 times.
2-year-old.
See?
Thank you very much.
Carol,
The meeting that I went to was during the
Good.
day. The meeting I went to was during the day.
Perhaps.
yeah, all depends which one they, I'm not, I
Well,
can't,
let's see what.
Do we need to
Tom
make
could
a,
definitely
you
do
need to
it.
make a motion?
No, I don't think we do.
I don't think we've
It's
ever
just a
done that.
it's an
verbal,
appointment, but
Yeah, we
it's,
just,
well, we can, but until Paul knows what the schedule is
Yeah.
and whether he can meet that schedule, I don't want, then if he can't make it, then we'll have to make it. If he can, then we'll make the motion would be for the board, from the board, that he be our representative. He's our representative to the board.
Bus station.
This?
Yeah, whatever it's called.
so don't bring it up.
I didn't bring it.
Well, that's what I just asked the board. I just asked if we needed to add this one as an agenda item, and you said no?
Yeah, put it on the agenda for next month.
We,
After
What?
I confirm his schedule?
oh,
Yeah,
well, why don't we, just in case Paul can't do it, then at least, well, we're all in one room and
He can do
Elizabeth's
it
not
anyway.
calling.
There has to be some
Same.
mechanism for.
I'm the fall guy,
Public
right.
appointment, right?
You were not joking about that, you will do that. Okay, on the record?
Follows the same guidelines and purview.
And for us, I'll be the third backup.
Fred will be the third back.
Okay, and then we'll have something that we're gonna bring up later, but just to put it on your radar, our department is taking a look at fees that other departments around Massachusetts, around this region are paying.
Yep.
And we're going to take a look at that. The mayor has to approve any fee changes. We don't wanna be radical, but
We're really
we
cheap,
wanna take a
though.
look at it.
We're on the cheap end.
We used to.
We're on the economical end.
Right. We're on
Okay,
the,
that's a good way to
Yeah.
put it. I like that.
This is friendly end,
Yeah,
As
but
far-
it's gotta be smart too. We
yeah,
have
we're not gonna blow it out.
I mean, we have to look at what the cost is to the city with the legal ads, the postage, like we're saying, if we have a new thing where we're paying the postage of, mailing Mylars, maybe we need to charge $10, whatever it costs to mail a Mylar, maybe something like that.
Sounds
no, I
good.
think that's great.
It needs
Okay, so that'll be on your, start
Because we
thinking
haven't
about,
updated that for quite a while. We did it
Yeah, well,
once.
we did it.
Yeah,
But it was a long time ago.
Well, it's been 8 or 9 years, so, yeah, do the research. Typically, what we did is we looked at it, recommendation came from you, from the professional office, came to us, we reviewed it, we voted it, and then we sent it to the mayor as, what our recommendations were.
okay,
Okay, he doesn't, the planning board, the fees that we charge, voted by this board. And, okay, if he had a problem with it, I give him the courtesy, to look at it and come back with the truth,
okay.
Okay.
okay?
Oh, one more thing, I lied, I told you I had 5 things and I'm giving you 7.
Oh, gee.
You're not gonna trust me
We
now.
lost count after 2.
I just, more things pop into my head and
Nope.
they come
That's all
out.
right.
So here we go. Now, there's a zoning change proposal, a simple one, coming from the building commissioner. Now, what I'm hearing is the building commissioner is not allowed to propose building changes, or zoning changes, but he's pointed something out and brought it to my attention. There's a conflict. There's one part of the zoning ordinance conflicts the other. So the board needs to decide what they want to do with this. Basically, did you get it in your packet or did they not get it in their packet? The section of Article Roman numeral 8 22-71.1 that states, signs may not extend above the building's roof line or the wall upon which the sign is located. That's one part of the ordinance. And another part, 22-71.9.1 says, the sign may exceed 8 feet above the roof line.
Oh,
Interesting.
okay.
So this is a conflict.
Signs,
It's
signs, everywhere
conflicting.
sign.
According to the
I
building
just-
commissioner.
I believe we need to schedule a public hearing.
Well, can I
Now,
see
what-
the actual ordinance? Well, we would have to schedule it, but can I,
Yeah, I didn't reference it yet. I didn't do the research on it yet, so.
Why don't you do the reference on, because what we can do is, we can look at it, if we would agree, we would come up with a change to it.
Well-
We either do or don't want
Should
the
we
8
put it
feet.
on the agenda under to be scheduled for the next?
Right, and then
one?
we on the
We'll have to
agenda.
follow due course that way.
well, and he, because he's also, I mean, he's saying that one should be removed, but I think we should discuss which one should
Which
be
one?
removed.
That's right,
That's correct.
that's what I'm saying, at the next meeting.
Well, he's telling you which one he thinks should be removed? No, he
Yeah,
says,
he is, that's
Which
what it
one's-
says.
which one's he, the 8+ feet one?
No, he's saying the other one, I like the first one
Oh, yeah.
better, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So
Signs.
13,
would probably need to just visualize an example of both
An
situations.
8-foot sign over the top of a building.
Well, I don't think it said 8-foot sign, I think it said 8 feet.
8 feet
over the
above.
building.
8 feet
13,
above.
22,
Well, look at, think about like the
71.
Dunkin' Donuts sign, that's standing on top of the old
110.
car dealership sign, or whatever it is over on,
Is that
Route
a
13.
freestanding pole?
It's on standing pole. That's why,
mean the old-
just as an example of a sign that's not,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
over
Yeah,
8
we've
feet
had a
over
lot of
the
issues over signs.
That was a root pit.
Right.
That was.
Yeah, you put it right on the cell phone
Signs been
tower,
on the
people's field, and they can charge for advertising. Maybe get some more revenue.
Yeah, it was, right? That's what I thought.
So Elizabeth has to petition the city council for this change,
Yes.
do one of these forms?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Separate, how does that correspond to our public hearing? Does it
No,
matter?
what we will do, we don't need a public hearing for this initially.
You have to submit a petition.
What we will do is we can take the input from the building
Yes,
inspector.
fill this out.
We will take one of the recommendations, either the 8-foot sign or not above the roof line.
Okay,
That will be discussed among ourselves,
Yeah.
okay? We will then vote to put it on a petition form. It will go to the city council as a recommendation for ordinance change.
okay,
Once it's recommended, they will accept it. They will then return it to us
Recommendation.
for a recommendation. At that point, we have a hearing,
okay.
so,
okay? And you advertise at that time, and you go through the whole thing. So we don't need a hearing up front.
Got it.
We need a hearing after the city council gets it. They set it up, it comes back on our agenda, we then have a hearing.
Okay. So that's,
so.
Okay, so there's only one hearing.
So I'll, actually, I do agree with him, but I do agree with him now, because, first of all, that line, this under 71.1 is sign location, so we don't really need to talk about sign height in sign location. It says, because it talks about where the sign's going to be located, then it says signs may not extend above, et cetera, et cetera. Then under height regulations, it says that any residential district, the top of a sign together with any supporting framework
It's residential.
may not extend above the roof line. In any other district, the top of the sign together with any supporting framework may not extend more than 8 feet. So actually, he's right that should be removed, because it's not in the right place.
Right.
Anyway, so, but John explained how the process works, yeah.
thank you.
Good.
Okay,
That's all I had.
Great.
beautiful.
Directors, get the directors.
We did the director's report, we have no
Motion to
objections.
adjourn.
All,
Second.
well, why don't you just say Merry Christmas to everybody? Because we're not gonna get together.
See you guys. Well, we'll have to
This
stop
is
by.
Yeah, come by.
Well,
Last meeting,
What's that?
on the
This your
walk
last
the next
meeting?
couple weeks.
I have milk, and
Yes,
there's a milk
yes,
frother.
correct.
How long are you going for that?
An unnecessary figure.
It's
That
like,
scares
it's
me.
foamy milk.
Yeah, I love it.
It's great. You have
Okay.
one?
All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Both say no, motion carries.